Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be going over a bunch of information that John Kyan dropped on his podcast, including that the Washington Commanders will pursue Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, an update on the Jimmy G situation, and some free agent quarterbacks that would interest the Washington Commanders, and much more. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. I'm so close to 7,000 subscribers, so please help me get there. Also, hit that like button and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video, and follow my Twitter. I'm trying to get to 1,000 followers on there. Now, let's get right into the video. So yesterday, John Kyan posted a podcast talking about all the different quarterback scenarios for the Washington Commanders, the big names, giving updates on those guys like Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, also on some of the other guys like Jimmy G and some other ones as well, and rookie guys as well. So make sure you guys go ahead and check it out. I'll leave the link to the YouTube video in the description. So one of the things he talked about was the Washington Commanders will try to trade for Aaron Rodgers and or Russell Wilson. No, that does not mean they're going to trade for both of them, that they will acquire Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. I know the tweet, I kind of phrased it wrong, but they're going to try to pursue both of those. Of course, they can try all they want. All that matters is if they get one of those guys. Aaron Rodgers is extremely unlikely that the Washington Commanders will be able to trade for him. I mean, he's not even a possibility in my opinion. I mean, I think it's very unlikely he gets traded anyways. Like, I would probably put it at like 10% chance he gets traded. I think he's either going to stay with the Packers or retire. And if he does get traded, John Kyan mentioned that, Aaron Rodgers probably wouldn't want to come here. And he also said that the Packers would like to trade, if they had to trade Aaron Rodgers, they would trade him to the AFC. So in my opinion, Aaron Rodgers is off the table, and it's been like that for a while, but they're still going to try because, I mean, they have to go through all the different avenues. Even though it's only like a 0.1% chance, they might as well try. The next guy he talked about was Russell Wilson, and said again, they're going to try to go after him, but he also said that it is unlikely that Russell Wilson gets traded this offseason. Pete Carroll's like 71 years old, and he doesn't want to be a part of a rebuild, so it's more likely that Russell Wilson gets traded next offseason. But if both sides agree to that it's time to move on, I don't think Kyan mentioned this, but I think it is possible that Russell Wilson would want to come here. He's from the Virginia area, and it's somewhat of a big market in DC, and a lot of the teams that were on his list last year either don't look as appealing or they filled their quarterback scenarios. You look at the Cowboys, they extended Dak. The Bears got Justin Fields. The Saints, Sean Payton is gone. And the Raiders, will see what they do with Derek Carr. So I think he would be open to coming here. I mean, it's been reported like that as well. Kevin Sheehan reported that, John Kyan as well. So I would definitely, I think there would be a chance if Russell Wilson is traded that he could come here and we would be able to give up enough to get him. But also, there's other teams even in our division that have way more draft capital than us. I mean, the Eagles have 3 first-round picks, and the Giants have 2 picks in the top 7 overall, and that's why I really thought we could have traded back last year at 19, especially with drafting Jamin Davis. If we would have drafted Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah at 19, I would have been happy with that. But if you're gonna get someone like Jamin Davis, who I think would have been there in the late 20s or mid 20s, you could have traded back, got some assets for the next year, because they knew they weren't going to fill their quarterback need, so they could have done that. But whatever, that's in the past. But they just don't have a ton to give up. They're gonna have to give up some key players as well if they want to get one of these top quarterbacks. So another thing that he mentioned is the possibility of the Washington Commanders trading for Deshaun Watson. And this is kind of what he said. He said Watson is another person of interest, but he thinks that there are just so many issues on both sides that it would make it hard for them to, be able to trade for him because of all the things that are going on with Watson, his legal issues, and then also the, things that have gone on with Washington and, the whole point of the investigation, and that would just be a really bad, it would be bad PR, but at the same time, they've had bad PR for a while. But I don't think any team is going to trade for Deshaun Watson until once his legal issues are cleared up. So I think that'll happen, or it could happen in April. So still going to be a while. So I think if Deshaun Watson does get traded, it will likely be around the draft time. So that could definitely make things interesting there. And right now, the Commanders have the highest odds to acquire Deshaun Watson at plus 300. And, Vegas does know some things. I think in terms of they know a lot when it comes to the lines for games, point totals and stuff. But when it comes to players and stuff, signing stuff, I don't think they know as much in terms, as they do when they're actually making lines. But still, it is something that they're there at plus 300. So another thing he talked about was Jimmy G, and we've heard Jimmy G to Washington for a while now from a bunch of different reporters as well. And John Keim said, thinks that they won't force a trade for Jimmy G, and that doesn't mean they won't trade for Jimmy G, but they're not going to force it, and they're not going to overpay for Jimmy G. They're not going to give up a ton to get him. If he's there and they think it's a reasonable price, they'll go ahead and get him if they can't get any of the big name guys. But if not, they'll go for some free agent options, which we will talk about in a little bit. Kyan mentioned that they're very concerned about the injury history with Jimmy G, and I think everyone is. I mean, you look at this past season, played in 15 games, but missed the last 2 of the regular season, or at least one of them. I think he was injured in that last one, and he was playing hurt the whole postseason. That's partly why he played bad. Part of it though is just on him as well. But he's always injured. The year before, played in 6 games. The year before, 16. The year before, 3, and the year before 6. That's when he was traded to the 49ers. But a lot of injuries: ACL, shoulder injury, hand injury, just a bunch of different injuries. And, he's a below average to sometimes a slightly above average quarterback. I mean, you look in 2019, he was a good quarterback. This past season, I would probably say when he was healthy, he was a below average to average quarterback. So, I mean, really, 2021 and 2019 are the only seasons he's played more than 15 games. So it's still, early in his career in terms of the amount of games he's played, which is crazy because he's been in the league for 8 years. But I don't know. Again, we've talked about it a lot on this channel. I'm not a huge fan of Jimmy G because, it's not like he's terrible, but I just don't think it would be a good idea to give up a second or even a third and a fifth for Jimmy G, and also have to extend him. If it was only giving up a 3rd round pick for Jimmy G, who's under contract for a while on a reasonable contract, that would be okay. But when you have to trade for him and extend him pretty much right away, that's when I really, really don't like it. So unless they can get him for really cheap, I wouldn't do it. And even if we can, I still would have other options over him. And then, John Keim also mentioned that 2 names to watch in the free agent market are Mitch Trubisky and Teddy Bridgewater. He thinks that they will look hard in free agency if they can't get any of those top guys right there. And, Teddy Bridgewater obviously has the ties with, Marty Hurney in Carolina, because Marty Hurney did sign him to a big 3-year, $60-something million contract. He only played 1 year there, and then he got traded. But I believe Marty Hurney did not trade him. It was the new GM. But, Teddy Bridgewater, I'm not a huge fan of him. Again, I would probably rather have Teddy Bridgewater than Jimmy G because, yes, Jimmy G's probably a little bit better than Teddy Bridgewater, but you're going to have to pay in terms of contract 1/4 or 1/3 of the price for Teddy Bridgewater, and he's a free agent, so you won't have to pay, you won't have to give up draft capital to get him. This past season, he was okay. He's solid, 67% completion percentage, 18 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and he got sacked 31 times and a pass rating of 95, which was the 2nd highest of his career. He's a game manager. You can win with him, but you got to have the right pieces around, you got to have the right pieces around them. And, he had good pieces around him last year, and they still couldn't win. He was, hurt a little bit, so that, you got to factor that in. But, he's not one of my top options. Even in free agency, I would rather go after Jameis Winston in free agency. Carson Wentz is a tough one. I think he's the better player, but then you have to factor in the mental part of it in terms of, like, if we do draft a rookie, is Carson Wentz going to be okay with it? And I honestly don't think he would be. But Teddy Bridgewater, I'm not a huge fan of him. I would be okay with it. I honestly would almost prefer Mitch Trubisky over Teddy Bridgewater, just because, Mitch Trubisky has more upside since he was the second overall pick. And, he's played, basically started a full season almost from 2017 to 2020. In 2017, wasn't that good. 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. I'm not sure if they made the playoffs that year, but not great. Next year makes a huge improvement. 24 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. He made the Pro Bowl, which, again, kind of a joke, but still made the Pro Bowl. And I think they won their division, or at least I think they made the playoffs. They made the playoffs that year. I think they made the playoffs twice with him. So you can win with Mitch Trubisky. And, the pairing with him and Matt Nagy in Chicago really wasn't great. They both didn't, Matt Nagy really didn't believe in Mitch Trubisky, so that's never good for a quarterback. I would be okay with him. I really would be okay with Trubisky. Again, not my preferred option, but if you pair Trubisky with a rookie in the first couple rounds, I am okay with it. Not my preferred option. Again, would love Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, or Deshaun Watson, especially the last two, if Deshaun Watson is cleared. But I don't think we're going to be able to trade for any of those. So after that, I would like someone like Jameis Winston and a draft pick, or maybe Trubisky and a draft pick, or just go ahead and get a draft pick and you don't need a bridge. Regardless, they have to get a rookie, in my opinion, in the first 2 rounds this year, if not 2 in the first 3 rounds this year, or else it's really a wasted year, unless, of course, they have one of those top options. And then John Kyan also mentioned that, that he thinks that Washington likes Pickett as the best QB in this class and would possibly take him at 11, but, they wouldn't really take any other quarterback at 11. That's kind of what I was hearing from what he said. So those are kind of the nuggets of information in his podcast. Make sure you guys go ahead and check it out on all the different podcast platforms, and also on his YouTube channel, which I will leave, or Empire Media's YouTube channel, which I will leave in the description. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. Peace.